first time I was an advocate. And it actually goes back to high school. When I was in year 6, we wanted a common room. So I sort of put my hand up to be the representative who went to the headmistress to lobby for a common room. Then when I went to art school, I joined the Student Representative Council because there was no ventilation in the very toxic dark room, so sort of fought for that. After I left art school, I started exhibiting in the mid-1980s, and I soon realised that I didn't want to just create sort of pretty pictures. I wanted to say something and hopefully make a difference. So I chose this work. I did 2 bodies of work to do with asylum seekers, and I was invited to be an entry in the Herman's Art Award. So I created this image. Whoa, okay, so good. No gaps for me, straight on. And anyway, I won the art prize with that image, so I was very happy about that. I was a very happy person. I think my life was perfect up until about age 50, and a lot of it was because of my beautiful mum Jan in the middle here. She was the centre of our lives. I'm the middle of 3 girls, and my dad didn't have a lot to do with our upbringing, really. And so we were a household of girls, and mum was, when we had children of our own, she really was the most significant person to them as well. This photograph was taken on Christmas just 4 months before my mum had a seizure. So it's a very sort of special moment. I took the photograph. I'm a photographer in the family, and it was, yeah, just such a happy day. She even actually had a sense that she wasn't going to be around forever. So we all made an effort. I knew that, not the other, my sisters didn't know that, but I was so pleased that they were all there. So just a few months after that Christmas photo, my mum had a seizure, and they thought that she'd had a stroke because she was paralysed down one side. But when they did an MRI, they found that she had the most aggressive form of brain cancer, glioblastoma multiforme, and she actually had multiple brain tumours. So at the first appointment with the neurologist, he basically said, there's nothing we can do to save your life. And when she asked, he said she'd have less than 12 months to live. She actually only lived 7 months, and I took care of her through that 7 months, but it was, watching the end stage of that illness that made me promise myself to do everything I could to change the law, to allow people who are in my mum's situation the choice to die with dignity, to die peacefully at a time and place of their choosing, surrounded by their loved ones. I heard about a bill being introduced by Kate Fairman, an upper house member, and that bill was just literally a few months after Mum had passed away. I contacted Kate's office and said, what can I do to help this bill? And she said, you can tell your story. So I was actually on the ABC News the day the bill was introduced. That bill failed, and it was extremely disappointing. But on the day that it failed, I met Loredana Alessio Mulhall, the lady in this photograph, and she said to me afterwards, it doesn't matter, we'll just keep going. Loredana had advanced multiple sclerosis. She couldn't move a single muscle. She could only move her wheelchair by blowing into a straw, but her mind was fine, and her voice. And I just found it so inspiring. I thought, oh, if she can keep going, I certainly can keep going. And little was I to know that within a few months I was asked to represent the Voluntary Euthanasia Party. They formed a political party, and I was asked to run for the Senate. So that's what that was the next thing. My mum always said things happen for a reason, and I just felt that these things were happening, and so I was just, embracing them. I have had no background in politics or interest in politics. I don't even think I knew about dying with dignity, but over the past 9 years, I've run for the Voluntary Euthanasia Party in 5 elections, state and federal. I'm Vice President of Dying with Dignity, and this was taken at the rally in 2017 outside Parliament. That was the second bill since Mum died that came before the Parliament, and we really thought we had the numbers. We did have the numbers, but at the last minute, two people changed their vote. And so that morning, we were doing, that was a press conference. I was feeling really positive, but that evening when those two people gave their speeches, and I knew that was it. We lost by one vote, so we didn't achieve our goal. But within a few weeks, Victoria became the first state to pass voluntary assisted dying, so that was a sort of a special moment to know that it was possible. And since then I've been involved with not just the New South Wales campaign, but also the WA, and even the Tasmanian and South Australia and Queensland sort of collaborated where I could. Choosing the last photo was really interesting. Obviously we had to hand them in a little bit earlier, and some of you might know that the bill, the Voluntary Assisted Dying Bill 2021, passed in the lower house last Friday. So if this is moments that mean something, really the most overwhelming moment for me was when Alex Greenwich, the MP who put forward the bill, at the end of the bill, after all the speeches and just before the vote, before he said, "I commend the bill to the House," he mentioned me, and he dedicated the legislation, the passage of the legislation in the lower house, to my mum. So if there was a photo of that, I probably would have asked Carmel, can I swap it out? But I want to include this photo still. I thought about it, I thought, no, this is really important, because I'm just one person, but these other people who you probably recognise were also a part, and there's many, many others. Thanks.